It's time to create a profitable, scalable, and sustainable studio for yourself and your students. Welcome to Dance Studio Empire. I'm Jen, dance studio owner for 30 years, running multiple locations with over 1,000 students, dance business coach turned mastermind mentor for dance studio owners, creatives, and leaders like you. I know you're committed to growing your studio and creating the time and financial freedom you most want, while also being the best in the industry with a reputation to match. I've coached hundreds of studio owners who have grown to 250, 500, and over 1,000 students using my signature studio scaled method. And in this podcast, I'll give you the clarity, strategy, and CEO mindset to help you do the same. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of the Dance Studio Empire podcast. I am excited to introduce you to today's guest, who has kindly given up her time in her very, very busy schedule to be with us today and share her incredible wisdom. And I would like to introduce you to Jess Modica Crichton. Thanks so much, Jess, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited and extremely grateful.
Now, people have probably heard your name before. You presented at the recent Dance Teacher Expo. You're all over my socials, so I'm sure you're over other people's as well. I would love for you to just let everybody know a little bit about yourself, what you are doing, but more importantly, your journey to get here. I like to hear about the dance journey for you as a student, that experience, what it felt like, your memories of that, and then how it's led you to where you are today.
I probably, like everyone, was dancing as soon as I could walk. I didn't come from a dancing family, so my parents were kind of unsure what to do, but my mum found the local studio and just got me in there, and I loved everything about dancing and being in a studio. I loved the fact that you could just leave the outside world. You were just there being inspired by your teachers, and you just made these dance besties, and it was just a really great creative outlet. So I have lots of positive memories of dancing at the studio. I still have a lot of my dance friends. It's still in my life all these years later, which I'm just so grateful for. I fell into teaching when I was about 15. When I say fell into it, the teacher just kind of approached me and said, "Would you be interested in teaching? Come and teach at my studio." And there wasn't really any training. It was just leaving you the keys and off you go. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It felt very natural to me. I get such a beautiful vibe and energy from students. I feel they fill your soul, don't they? Like just being in their presence. It's such a joy to share dance with them. Then when I was about 16, I started working at a really well-known performing arts studio in Melbourne. And this led to then me becoming their head of dance and managing their staff, as well as hundreds and hundreds of students. And I have to say, my students have always been my biggest motivation. They are the reason for everything that I have done in my career. So I got into personal training and fitness to help all of my elite students be able to just become a bit fitter and stronger, but also understanding how does our mechanics of our body work, and what kind of like fitness exercises can I be teaching them to help them like jump higher, turn, a bit more efficiently, and also just for injury prevention and mobility. So that's kind of got me into the fitness industry, about 20 odd years ago now. But then I started noticing that anxiety was on the rise, especially with my dance exam students, my elite competition students, but also my students that were entering the professional world. So that then got me motivated to learn about yoga and meditation to just help support them. So I went on a journey of doing a 2-year intensive yoga meditation course, which I then also found that the learnings were not just helping my students, they were also helping me as a teacher. I went on to study nutrition and holistic counseling. So holistic counseling kind of incorporates everything. So it looks at a holistic level why you're going through what you are going through. So it kind of brings together everything I've done. So from the fitness side of it to the nutrition side of it, and then all counseling techniques and things as well. So I found that that was, super helpful. The performing arts school that I was working at then was going up for sale, and I was offered to purchase it. But at the time I'd had a newborn and I had a shift working husband. So the timing wasn't really divine to take on such a huge performing arts school. So I went on to just teach and examine and adjudicate. And I was also employed to write vet dance programs. So that was really awesome, just having lots of different opportunities. My students continued to contact me. They were finding me on Facebook and texting me and calling me and just telling me that they missed me and they missed my classes. And even if I could just do something locally that they could come to. So I just found a local community center hall in our area. I just booked it for like a Thursday night and just said, whoever wants to come, this is where I will be. It was never meant to become a dance studio. It was meant to just be casual classes, reconnecting and coming together. Before I knew it, it grew into a dance school. And in 2012, the dance center in Arundel Heights was born. At that time, I had to really think about, well, what kind of a school do I want? Because there are so many amazing schools in our area. And a lot of my friends at the time were owning studios as well. So I was like, well, how is my school kind of different? So I kind of looked at my daughter, and at the time she was 2. And I thought, well, what kind of a school would I want to send her to? And then that became my purpose and my why to create a school for her. The word spread very quickly, and in 3 years we were at full capacity in the community centre. So even though we had increased how many days we were there, they couldn't kind of have us there anymore. So I looked at a second and third location, and we did that. I also started offering bar, yoga, fitness, Pilates classes and things as well. But after about 8 years of doing this at multiple locations, I really wanted like my own place. So we got a warehouse, and as everyone knows, went through the process of the permits and the drawings and getting all the tradies. And the dream was to build a holistic studio, bringing everything that I loved and was passionate about under the one roof. So being dance and fitness and yoga and wellbeing. December, January, we were in the process of making this dream come true. And then in February, the pandemic started to head our way, and there was just like whispers about it. The community center closed us down and said it'll just be a couple of weeks. And I thought, awesome, let's get the fit out going, because I'm not going to be paying rent in the community center. So let's just go and get this warehouse fast tracked and get it open. And of course, then those 2 weeks kind of kept going. And in Melbourne, they just kept going. I had an incredible commercial lease lawyer at the time, and he contacted me and he said, Jess, I don't know about holding on to this premise. I know you're paying month to month, all the outgoings and the rent. He goes, but I think that this pandemic is going to go longer than what we all think it is. And he was so right. And I am so grateful to him. So after a few months, we had to let it go, sadly. We did the Zoom, we did the outdoor classes, we did the indoor classes when we were allowed in between all of the lockdowns. But we actually lost most students and dropped down to 22, which was less than what I had even started with when I was doing casual classes all those years ago. So that was a really hard time and space to be navigating and living in. I was very burnt out, overwhelmed, decision fatigue, financially in debt. But I have to say, once again, it was the students and their families that just kept giving me bursts of hope and kept realigning me with my why and my purpose, and just kept giving me this drive to just keep going, even though there was no end in sight. And we were all just kind of navigating, one day at a time. I just feel as studio owners, we carry a lot of weight on our shoulders. And there is this feeling of like, if we don't make it work, we're going to disappoint everyone. And where will all these kids go? So, you're driven by passion and you just keep going. And that's just what you do. And so this ordinary day, I was driving my daughters to the local shopping center, and we drove past the building that I used to be head of dance at. And it actually had a massive for lease sign in front of it. And we were like, holy moly, wow, maybe this is some kind of universal sign. We'd just had, I think, 4 lockdowns or something at that time. So we thought, why not? Let's just do this. There couldn't be any more lockdowns, surely, after this. So my family and I signed the lease, and we worked extremely hard to get it up and open and ready and start this new chapter. And then we were open for 4 days and it was lockdown 5. And then we were open for 7 days and it was lockdown 6. And I remember just thinking, wow, why is the universe testing us so much? And I kept thinking it has to be to see how badly do you want it? You know, there's no other reason or explanation. The universe can't be this cruel, really, surely. So we just kept persevering. And from this day on, I was just in survival mode, like everyone, and just trying to rebuild and get back on track. Fortunately, in 5 months of just surviving on very little sleep and working hard, like all small business owners were at the time, we were able to get, you know, half of our students back, but it's only maybe 3-4 years later, or however many years it is now, that we're finally back to our pre-COVID numbers and beyond. And it truly feels like this is going to be the best year yet. There's just such an incredible vibe and energy in the studios. And so, yeah, I'm really, really excited for what's to come. But during that time of the roller coaster emotional ride, I was just really grateful for everything I've studied and done, because I feel like it did help support me and my students and my family. So, wow, that was a really long answer.
It actually brought up the fact COVID. So I know it was so many years ago, but you speaking about that brought up some real raw emotions, you know, because it does take you back. And you guys, the listeners who are based in Melbourne, Victoria, you had it really tough compared to us in New South Wales, Queensland, WA. We didn't have it as hard as you. And I know how hard it was for us. And I can't even imagine how hard it was. Did you feel that with the kids as well? See that noticeable change coming back after COVID, even 3-4 years down the track? Are you still seeing that? And if so, what are some things that you are doing to help support them and their families, really?
So I did notice when we all were open, people were slow to come back, because I feel like there was still fear. There was still fear to come back into group setting environments. And I see it as well because I would work in gyms and as a trainer, and I'd also work in yoga studios. And I found it wasn't just at the dance studio, it was everywhere. I feel because the messaging was kind of around that they weren't very like safe environments because we're exercising and we're breathing, that there was fear. So at the start, there was fear. Then thankfully, I feel that fear kind of went away and most students then started to come back. Obviously, their skills and flexibility weren't at the level pre-COVID times because they had been spending a great deal of time training at home and, you know, with the limitations of that in their lounge rooms and in their bedrooms. So I really felt it was important to support them, like understanding that it's going to take time. We can't expect to just get back into the studio and be back where we were when we've had 2 years of inconsistent training. And I always like to relate it as training. Like if you weren't training consistently, we can't just expect to be there. So we just had to be really encouraging and supportive and patient and, you know, and tell them and remind them to be patient with their bodies. So I just felt they needed a lot more emotional support. They were also craving a lot of connection. So there was a lot of connecting activities amongst us and with our community and with our families. So we tried to do a lot of events as we could to include the families as well. Definitely things have changed in the approach of how I do things in class. We are always, my students actually come in and sometimes say, Jess, can we please just do yoga today? Like I'm just not in the headspace to be learning all my ballet. Like honestly, just last night, my ballet girls were like, Jess, we know we have so many exercises to learn before our exam, but can we please just do some yoga today and do some meditation? And I was like, sure. And even though they do have their exams coming up, we have so many exercises, I feel it's just so important to meet them with where they're at. What do they need today in this class? And we've done like goal setting classes because sometimes they are losing sight and they're getting frustrated, especially if it's coming up to performance time and they feel like they're not quite where they wished they would be. So we would like just look at our goals, break them down. Let's have a plan. Let's not place such high expectations on ourselves. So I feel that has kind of definitely shifted and they definitely need a lot more support and compassion and empathy and kindness. And I've noticed like our families as well are needing that connection and communication too.
Yeah, I think connections are really, I mean, I think it's vital wherever we are in our business cycle, but I think more than ever, connection is so important. And it's those studios who find ways to do that are continuing to succeed, especially at the moment with the economic challenges that we're all facing and a lot of our families are facing. It really does come back to that service and connection that we can provide, because it's more than just teaching them dance. It's more than just the steps. You're talking about your journey. Another thing that I just loved about that, which you probably didn't at the time, but it took time to get there. It wasn't a fast find. It wasn't a fast fix. You went along, you pivoted where you needed to, and, you know, it's brought you to this place now. And I think that comes with a bit of age as well, and like the wisdom of letting things go a little bit more. However, there are studio owners who are still living in that constant feeling of overwhelm and stress, and like it's all too much. I like to talk about simplifying things, simplifying life a lot. I know that's one of your philosophies as well. You have some techniques that you talk about, and I'd love for you to speak through them now that might help studio owners who might be feeling that way. Yeah, please let us know what you think. The mindfulness side of things, the well-being side of things, please share your wisdom.
So first of all, I want to say that I am still forever practicing what I preach. And I feel like it's really important that we don't place such high expectations and demands on ourselves. It's about just doing what we can. And maybe you might have a really great day where you're able to implement most things. And then there will be some days that you won't be able to do it all. And I think we just have to be kind to ourselves. I find our role as studio owners is very challenging. We are juggling lots of different things all the time, and a lot of things are beyond our control. I will often say to my husband, "Oh, you're so lucky you get to just get in your car and go to work and do that one job and then get in your car and drive home." Whereas us studio owners, we are everything in our jobs, and we could be teaching, running the front desk, helping support a student, chatting to a parent, being a bookkeeper, answering emails. Like, I don't need to run through the list because I know you're all probably nodding as you listen to me. But a lot of us are also partners and wives and mothers and juggling everything there as well. So a few hacks that I journaled a lot during the pandemic. I found it very, very therapeutic for me. And what I did was I wrote a lot of messages and learnings. And I personally find that a really great tool. I feel sometimes when we're in it, it's really, really hard to kind of navigate and see the end and see the positive. So I would literally just do a mind dump, and every thought and every feeling and even just a lesson or a message or a reminder to myself, I would put in my journal. When I'm finding that I'm really stressed and overwhelmed, I go back to my holistic counseling, and they speak a lot about the pillars of your health, and that each of the pillars need to be supported to keep you at your optimal self and being. So bedtime, we're always so busy, and so we're not very consistent with a bedtime routine. But if you are a mum, you know that you used to plan your bedtime routine for your child, like, okay, we're going to have dinner at this time, we're going to have bath, and we're going to have story time, and we're going to do this routine and hope that it's going to create this incredible all-night sleep for our child. And, you know, whereas as adults, we don't have that. We are compromising on what time we go to bed because we're trying to fit in absolutely everything around the house, making lunches, answering last minute emails. We might want to be binging on a TV show, but we need this consistent bedtime routine to just help signal to our bodies and our minds that it's time now for sleep. A lot of data suggests that 3 hours before bed, we should stop eating and drinking just to give our digestive system a bit of a break. 2 hours before bed, try and stop working just to try and get your mind to be able to decompress. And 1 hour before bed, stop your screen time. I personally don't sleep with my phone in my room because I know that if it pings or goes off off or flashes, I'm going to check it. I also know that if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm going to look at it and check it. So I try not to have those disruptions to my sleep. So I try and just keep it in the kitchen. And then when I wake up in the morning, I try and make my mornings for me. So I will try and get up before my children. I find your mornings kind of set the tone for your day. So I like to just get up. I'll drink a big glass of water. I'm a coffee drinker, so I'll hydrate before I caffeinate. I like to have a good book on rotation. And even if I read 5 or 10 minutes, do some gentle movement for my body, whether that's yoga or go for a walk, listening to an inspiring podcast. And I like to do all of this before I check my phone. I just feel like gifting myself with that time before I start my day is just, it just sets such a beautiful tone for the rest of the day. And I feel like it's, you know, you putting you first before everything else. Getting outside for me is something I love to do. So I'll either eat my breakfast outside, I might try and read outside, you know, walking outside, but I just feel like getting that fresh air and that sunlight, it just helps our circadian rhythms, but also helps you get that vitamin D. Food, we all know that food is essential and nutrients are essential, but I do believe that food affects our moods. So I do try and eat with nourishing my body in the forefront of my mind. I try and make sure that I'm including like macronutrients and micronutrients and just trying to have good balanced plates with proteins and carbs and fats and lots of salad and veggies. I just think, you know, our food is our fuel and it's going to help get us through our days. And just talking about our days, I find that we're often running from one thing to the other. So, you know, as a busy mum, I have 2 children. I do the 2 school drop-offs because I have a child in primary school and secondary school. So it's like, you've got to get one to the other. Then I've got to race to the studio, teach preschool classes. And then I've got to do some admin and then I'm teaching at night and then I'm racing home. So I like to do this tool that's called Stop. And what it basically means is S is for stop, T is for take a breath, O is for observe, and P is proceed. So say I've just rushed the kids to the school and I'm feeling a bit heightened and I'm then got to go and teach a preschool class and be like, hey, everybody, let's dance. Just before that moment of going from one place to the other, I like to just stop, Jess, stop what you're doing. Let's just take a breath, whether I'm in my car or outside the studio door, like deep diaphragmatic breath, observe how I'm feeling, try and slow the heart rate down, try and ground myself in that present moment, try to stop the racing thoughts in my mind before then I proceed to where I'm going. So if that's the preschool class or whether that's school drop off or pick up, I just feel sometimes we don't have enough time to meditate every day and we know how good it is for us, but we can just take those few moments for ourselves. And even just a few deep breaths can really ground us, can really bring us into the moment, but they can also activate our PNS, which is your rest and your digest. And I just feel it can be just so beneficial for us to just take that time, carve out that time amongst the chaos for yourself.
Yeah, I think that needs to go on a post-it note and be putting our faces everywhere we go. That is so true. And it's funny you say that. I've never actually thought about that. But even before I jump on to record a podcast, particularly when I'm interviewing people, that's what I will literally do. I'll just stop, just feel my feet on the ground and take a breath, just get grounded before I then move into the next thing. And we all should be doing that across our day just to balance that energy, I guess, because we are passion-led and impact-led. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. And I don't think us as studio owners stop and think about that, what the consequences of that on our body is until we get to that point where we're burning out.
And I say I actually did this the other day because I was wondering why I was feeling so run down and tired, because I was actually trying to practice what I preach. And I'm like, but I'm sleeping and I'm aiming for 6 to 7 hours and I'm eating well and I'm exercising and I'm doing all the things. Why am I still so tired? And so what I did is I kept a running track of what I do every day in my notes in my phone with a little green emoji tick, and like it would have been answered emails, taught for 2 hours, like just kept it going. And at the end of the week, I looked at that list and I was like, wow, that's why. That is why. That's a lot. That's a lot. And if I showed that to an ordinary, regular person, they would be like, how many hours did you work this week? Because that's the thing. We're so fueled by passion that I feel like we don't have an off switch. We honestly believe that studio owners are the hardest working beings in the world. They are just so passionate. There is no off switch. We are always trying to help our students, help our families, help our communities, that we just keep going and going and going. And I feel that, you know, sometimes it can be a little bit of a reminder to go, wow, okay, I have done enough today. I need to stop. I need to just reset. I need to maybe do a little bit of self-care, however that looks for me, because everyone needs to recharge. We can't just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does go back to that simplifying. How can we simplify what we're doing, but still stay successful, but just find that balance? And again, the older I get, the more I'm like, what's the purpose? You have to enjoy the journey, because life is short. We should enjoy the stuff every day and not just celebrate the big wins at the end. Suggestions, what you talk about, I think encapsulates that, and the importance of how to try and find that balance and keep our life aligned in a healthy way. Really appreciate you sharing that with us. There's so much gold, and I know that the people listening will get a lot out of that. For you right now, where do you see your future? Is it developing? Is it moving? I just love this question. You can tell me as much or as little as you like.
Yeah, I think for such a long time, it's been all about the dance center and just saving it and growing it and getting like everybody back and feeling that joy in the studios and just being of service to our community. That has been my focus. But I am very passionate about health and well-being. Like, this is what I love. It just lights me up. And, you know, in yoga, they say there's this word dharma, which it's your life purpose. And I do feel that this is my purpose to share, but space platform, I'm not sure. Yeah, I would be very open to doing more podcasts and teaching at conventions, but I would also love to even go to other people's studios and just share this, not only with their teaching staff, but also with their students. I feel our students really do crave this. And I know that there are programs that are taught in their schools. And I was really fortunate to develop my own program, Happy Confident Kids. And I was teaching that in primary and secondary schools last year and that as well. And so maybe that might be something else I continue. Yeah, I definitely enjoy this space, and just on a mission to just share it. If it can just help one person, then that makes me happy.
Yeah, job done. Well, I can tell you my little business mind's going, I know there's potential. We'll chat about that later. I am so grateful for you being here. I always finish with a question of our guests about who's inspiring them at the moment. It doesn't have to be industry related. It can be podcasts. It can be social media. It could be a book you're reading. But I just love you to share who's touching you at the moment.
First and foremost, probably my daughters, being 11 and 14. They definitely are my biggest inspiration to be the best version of myself and lead by example for them. So they are always an inspiration. And I do think that as much as they get annoyed, sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, I just heard this on a podcast, or I just read this, and I'm forever sharing these tips with them. I know that one day in the future, hopefully they will find that they are significant and useful and helpful tips. But I do love, podcasts. I'm listening to Mel Robbins' podcast. I find her extremely inspiring, and the lessons that she shares, and also The Diary of a CEO is quite good. And Jay Shetty, he's awesome too. But yeah, for all health, wellness, and well-being, I really enjoy listening to those. It's just nice to learn some new tools, because I feel the health and well-being space is forever changing. So it's nice to keep up to date.
There's some names we can all go and check out. They're all in my sphere as well, and I understand what you get from them as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you just for being here. The information is pure gold that you are giving and sharing. You can hear it in your voice. You can hear the passion. You can hear how much you care. And that is truly what our industry is shifting towards. I'm excited to be part of that with you. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much to the listeners for listening. And I truly do hope that they do get something out of it that